Greetings, Groaners, and welcome to our UK Mother's Day special, aka episode 177. Of course, this one is for the mothers and the parents who do a dual role. We facts aplenty from Nicole, as well as a special instalment of Creepy Corner. Your games this week are Talking Nonsense, Don't Quote Me on That, Gimmie Da Question, which is a 2-rounder this week, and Admin Nicole's Anagram Anxiety. To go with the games, there will be plenty of groan content along the way, but there is no audience groan this week. Unfortunately, no one emailed in, no one contacted me or Admin Nicole, therefore we have nothing. Sorry, Groaners. However, we do have facts, and you're gonna get a double burst of facts at different points through the episode. Why 2 facts? Well, yesterday, Saturday, that was White Day, and of course White Day is before Mother's Day, which is today, and today being Sunday. And of course, as I mentioned facts, here they are. White Day was created by Ishimura Mansiedo, a confectionery shop in 1978. When looking to increase sales after Valentine's Day, the executive of Ishimura Mansiedo read in a woman's magazine that it is unfair that only men receive gifts on Valentine's Day. They suggested that men give marshmallows in return for Valentine's Day chocolate. Over time, the name changed from Marshmallow Day to White Day, allowing men not be limited to only gifting marshmallows to now white chocolate and other white-themed gifts, such as jewellery bags and lotions. In 1920, the government of France began awarding medals to mothers of large families in gratitude for helping rebuild the population after so many lives were lost in World War I. After the Second World War, the government declared the last Sunday in May to be the Day of Mothers. The traditional gift is now a flower-shaped cake. There's plenty more facts where Nicole got them from, but that's for later, as now, we know what's coming, don't you, Groaners? The show is called The Groan Zone, therefore I must have my Groan Trio piece. Buying cheap meaningless gifts. I know it's a thought that counts, but this is your mother we're talking about. Why go buy her a mug or a keyring, especially at the last minute? At least take her for a meal to a place she loves, or ask her to name 3 things she'd like, then pick one to get her. Buying gifts is easy if you know how to do this. You don't know how? I've just taught you. Rising prices on Mother's Day. You've been going to a restaurant for a while and you can use vouchers and pay normal prices. Oh, that's great. Mother's Day rolls around and suddenly vouchers cannot be used and a normal meal goes up in price by at least double. Did the price of meals and ingredients and such like, paying for staff and everything, go up overnight? No. It's stupid putting prices up on special days. It's why lots of people avoid Mother's Day for going out for meals. Some mothers request go out the week before or the week after, not bothering to even get a card. If for some reason you don't see your mum on Mother's Day, you can at least rearrange it. But to not get a gift or meal is one thing, not even bother with a card is lowest of the low. At least when you see her, give her the card, no matter how things are between you both. She will understand. After all, she's your mother. That's my groans wrapped up and posted. There'll be more groans and hopefully an audience groan next week. Now we play our first game of the Mother's Day special with Don't Quote Me on That. There are mother themes to these 3 movies. Okay, Groaners? If you know your movies, you're going to do well at this game. If you don't, maybe not so well. Round 1.
Like 1 minute, please.
Honey, look, I think something's happened to us.
What are you?
It's me, Mom.
You're not my mother.
Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. What could the movie be? Answer, then unpause as we move on to round number 2.
I choose after Labor Day.
That's not true anymore.
Yes, it is. Didn't your mother ever tell you? Now you know.
Pause here, Groaners. Have a think what the movie could be. Answer, and then unpause as we move on to the last round, round number 3.
All night I work all day to pay the bills I have to pay. Ain't it sad?
Pause here, Groaners. Have a little think. What could the movie be? Answer, and then unpause. The answers, so don't quote me on that, will appear later on in the show, Groaners. We're back at it again with Nicole for Creepy Corner and more facts now. Your story for Creepy Corner this week is called The Widow Legion. Mirage was a large town, very futuristic in design. A town that was completely isolated from the world and whose feats of engineering were years ahead of anywhere else. Despite all this, the one thing that kept this town special was the care it had for its parents, especially mothers. Dawn van den Ocht found this town, built it from the ground up at an almost alarmingly fast rate. In only 3 years, she built this town into what it is, and now the biggest event of the year was drawing near, Mother's Day. The one day a year where every mother is honoured in a massive parade that flows all through the town. However, before the parade, every child in town would spend the day competing in a series of events to earn the grand prize of getting their mother crowned as queen for the year. Not only would she be the star of the parade, but every shop in this town was to give her half of everything for an entire year. It was a coveted prize that everyone wanted. This town was perfect. It was idyllic. Everyone wanted to live here and no one wanted to leave. It had been almost a peaceful 3 years. However, they did have to start tightening security after the events of last year. It was around a week before Mother's Day when flies began raining from the sky. They were blank. Just plain red flyers with nothing written on them. It was just seen as a prank until the day before Mother's Day when the abandoned warehouse district blew up. Thankfully, no one was there as it was deemed to be knocked down and rebuilt to be much better than before. The guards never found out who was behind it, but security has gotten tighter this year. As always, the events went smoothly. The guards were on high alert, but nothing happened. Dawn remained in her tower, watching over the town, making sure to only make appearances when she really had to. Something about making sure everyone knew she was untouchable and also one of the people. The day passed smoothly, and it was time for the parade. Amelia won the position of queen for her mother and got to ride in the parade with her. The sun had just begun to set as the parade began. Everyone in town was out for this except for Dawn, of course. As the parade turned its first corner, people began to notice flyers tied to the streetlights. A single word each as they got closer to the end. The parade was due to end in the park with a feast for everyone waiting there. This was how it was done every year. A small child weaved through the crowds, grabbing every flyer he could to figure out the message. "See you at the park," it read. As the parade neared its end, the small child tried to rush to the front to stop whatever may be waiting for them. To his surprise, there was nothing. No one was waiting for them, just the usual seating arrangements for everyone to enjoy the feast. What they didn't know, however, was that Amelia's mother had a button hidden under her seat, and when she sat down, it turned on the projector. The projector was due to play a congratulations message from Dawn like every year. However, this year, it had been swapped out. A cartoon showing a black widow spider came onto the screen along with a koala. It appeared as if they were talking to each other. The younger children were fascinated, thinking it was just a fun little show for them to watch that Dawn had arranged. But the older children and the adults knew to be worried. They scrambled about trying to find a way to turn it off. Once they heard what was said, they just froze. "Hey koala, did you know this whole town is a lie?" the spider asked. "Don't be so ridiculous, spider. You know this town is completely real to those who live here," koala replied. "I suppose you did make a good point there. Everyone here does believe it's real. However, that does make me wonder, does belief outweigh reality?" Spider said. "Well, my dear spider, you simply have to think of it like this. If you don't know your reality is a lie, can you be upset about it?" Koala replied. After this, the broadcast stopped, and the video ended. Even the guards who saw the video were shaken by it. If life as they know it isn't real, then just what is life? In a mere matter of minutes, everyone had their lives changed. Suddenly, the one thing on everyone's mind was how much of what they know or even see is actually real. Was that video a tactic to scare them, or a warning to show them the truth? A panic started. It led to an uproar. The events of this Mother's Day would go down in history. A group formed from it of the ones who were determined to get at the truth. They called themselves the Widow Legion. Nicole, I don't know how you come up with these stories, but you do a really good job, especially with the specials, and continue them year after year. And this one is no exception. Well written. And again, sticking with them and Nicole, immediately after that comes another double fact burst. Despite marshmallows being the original gift for White Day, the significance of them gradually changed over time. Giving and receiving marshmallows is now commonly associated with rejection, as marshmallows tend to dissolve quickly. Not the way I eat them. In autumn, the Hindus honour the goddess Durga, during the 10-day festival known as Durga Puja. The celebration is thought to date back to the 16th century and is considered both a religious ceremony and a time for family reunions. One story tells of Durga returning to her parents' home to show off her own children. Families spend weeks preparing food, gathering gifts, and decorating their homes for the festival. More facts to come later now, as we must ask the age-old question: why, oh why? Some kids get very physically abusive towards their mothers, and vice versa. Your mother brought you into this world, yet at the same time, having a child can be the most rewarding experience to have. But some kids and mothers out there never got the memo, and do all in their power to hurt their kid or mother, including physically. I simply must ask, why oh why would either party do such a thing, which seems inhumane to me? Why would you do that? Why? Especially physically. Why would you hit your kid? Why would you hit your mother? Especially on Mother's Day. Something I'll never understand. But we must move on, Groaners, to the second game, which is, of course, talking nonsense. You all know this one, Groaners. I spiel out reverse nonsense. You must figure it into common sense. Round 1. You can get these for your mother and don't also have to pay for them. Your nonsense is, so well for it. Don't forget, Groaners, pause after each one, and then have a think, and then unpause. Round 2. A lot of mothers would want this from their offspring on Mother's Day, and it's free. Your nonsense is Round 3. If you know your way around a kitchen, you can make this for your mother on Mother's Day. Your nonsense is We'll spin the nonsense to sense later on, Groaners, with the game answers. Admin Nicole's fact strip again for fact burst number 3. Giving and receiving hard candy can be interpreted as a love confession. This is because candies are able to stay in your mouth for a long time without dissolving and remain sweet. This is symbolism for a long-lasting sweet relationship. Peruvians spend a full week celebrating their madres in mid-May. Museums and art galleries let mothers in for free, and deceased mothers are remembered too, with their loved ones bringing balloons and flowers to their graves. Peru's indigenous population also celebrates the ancient goddess known as Pachamama, Mother Earth, in early August, with a focus on her gift of fertility. Yes, you've noticed once again, Groaners, weird names and foreign words are popping up again. I am really sorry if I've butchered any of these. Fact burst number 4 will be coming soon, but until then, as always, as we say, not all specials can 100% be about the topic, and oh unlucky has absolutely nothing to do with Mother's Day. Our poor unlucky sod is heavyweight US boxer Jarrell Miller. Why is he so unlucky? Well, although he won the fight in the Madison Square Garden in February, he had to suffer the embarrassment of his toupee being dislodged during the fight. He smiled and pulled it off fully and finished the fight. He blamed his mother's shampoo for burning his hair off and had to get an emergency toupee. An emergency hairpiece is something I've never ever heard of. But Jarrell, you poor swine for having to go through that. Sorry, Groaners, I'm trying to stifle a laugh here. I'm trying not to laugh. That is just a wow. Now, why is part of something, and that is usually a thing which has an answer. But in this next game, I want you to give me the question. Round 1. West Virginia is your answer. But what is the correct question out of the 3? Is it A, what is the mother capital of the USA with a large amount of pregnancies? B, where were the first recognised Mother's Day cards handed out in the church? Or C, which state was the first to hold Mother's Day? Round 2. This is the last round. Your answer is mothering buns. And now which question goes with it? Is it A, what was a type of hairstyle said to alleviate stress on Mother's Day? B, what is a type of iced cake that was served on past Mother's Days? Or C, what was the affectionate name given to a hamper of an expectant new mother? As I said, Groaners, unfortunately this game is only a 2-rounder, but pause here, pick your correct questions to go with the answers, and then we'll give you the solutions later. Now, we must honour the heroes for Mother's Day, which is of course the mothers and single parents who sacrifice and love unconditionally and work so hard whilst carrying the duty of being a mother. As forever children, we owe a lot to our mothers, and just like every year, this episode is for them. You are heroes forever and always. We now bring you the final facts for the episode. Another classic White Day gift is chocolate. Chocolate can be given as both Giri Choco for obligation or Honmei Choco for lovers. This is especially beneficial for those who are still in the early stages of relationships. If there are any uncertainties about the relationship, you have the ability to brush off the Honmei Choco as Giri Choco. In Austria, Germany and Switzerland, Mother's Day, aka Muttertag, is observed on the second Sunday in May, same as the US and several other countries around the world. During the First World War, Switzerland became one of the first European countries to introduce Mother's Day with the first celebration in 1917. Germany's first Muttertag took place in 1922, and Austria's first celebration was in 1926. For all 3 countries, Mother's Day is a celebration of love and gratitude. With those final facts, we come to near the end of the episode with the last game for the show with the alternating weekly game. Admin Nicole's turn this week with Anagram Anxiety. Your anagram is Ainslee Savvy Valiant. That's AINSLEESAVVYVALIANT. Your clue, someone who made it to the Guinness Book of Records. Well, Nicole, that could be bloody anyone. Groaners, I'm sorry, but I don't have a Scooby-Doo what she's on about. However, she'll tell us next week with a solution. Speaking of solutions, etc., here come the game answers. From last week, your Who the Hell Am I was Dean Martin. So you've had 2 members of the Rat Pack now. You'll not be getting the third because he'll be too obvious. The 2-rounder questions for Gimmie Da Question. Groaners, if you picked B on both times, you scored points. But don't quote me on that. Your movies were in round order: Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, Serial Mom starring Kathleen Turner, and lastly, if you know your musicals, it's Mamma Mia starring Meryl Streep and others. And for the last game, Groaners, talking nonsense, if you're a seasoned pro at this, you'll know how to spin gibberish to common sense. Your solutions were: round 1, a bouquet of flowers; round 2, peace and quiet; and lastly for round 3, breakfast in bed. On that note, Groaners and mothers of Groaners, we hope you scored points and enjoyed listening. Don't forget, out of the many ways to contact Groan Zone headquarters, the best way is still the groanzonepod@gmail.com. Take care, see you next week, bye bye. Men cannot be limited to only giving gifting. Built it from the ground up at an almost alarming fast rate. Built it from the ground up at an almost alarmingly fast rate. In only 3 years, she built this town into what it is now. Start again. And Turkey, is it A? What is the Is it A? What was the type?